Are you an aspiring podcaster? Do you have a great idea for a show but have no idea where to begin? What equipment will you need? Which host should you use? Perhaps you're an established show and editing is taking valuable time out of your day. Endeavor Podcast Solutions has you covered. It's so easy. You just send in your recording, and in as little as 2 days, you'll get it back professionally edited, mixed, and mastered. From podcast strategy to post-production, trust Endeavor.
I'm not going anywhere, 'cause I'm here to stay, I'm here to play, get used to it, nothing's gonna break me down, got a little taste of it, and now I want more, and I can't ignore the feel of it, nothing's gonna stop me now, fire on the ground, got 'em running for cover, better watch out, I'm about to take over. I don't got time to look over my shoulder. Leave them all behind, I'm about to take over.
Welcome to Daddy Issues.
Push nice and hard. You know if your wrist is wore out by the time you get done doing this, you did something right.
This dungeon is gorgeous.
Hello and welcome.
A redhead will stuff you in her trunk and hang you on her wall and fuck you for days. Just saying. It's good times.
I go full trailer park. Now let's go back to the hose.
That's weird.
Ooh, gimme.
Because
Was that hot?
Pardon me.
Dude, okay over there?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, their sticks are so far up their asses, it's like they're fucking puppets, and you're just...
Fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
Well. Look who skipped their meds today. And then it was just like, I should drink less.
I got all these daddy issues.
Yep, I got you now. I don't know why I fucked it up so bad, but I fucked it back together.
Did you get the Dawsons Creek theme song in your head when you did it?
First of all, Dawsons Creek, for anybody who's actually watched that, probably emulated it, because like all the girls that I knew that watched that show were living those whorish lives. And hey, I'm cool with you being a whore, but don't do it because like Joey and Jack or whoever the fuck is in the show is doing it. Like, bone because you're free, not because you saw it on TV.
I didn't, like for me, I didn't ever actually watch that show or know anyone who did watch that show. It was just using it as an insult for like those people that wore like penny loafers.
Dude.
And so I bet they watched Dawson's Creek.
yeah. Dawson's Creek was really the beginning of the end for our society. Because, like, look at where everything went to. She ends up marrying Tom Cruise. He turns into an absolute, if he wasn't already, nut job. Then she has a silent baby who goes through labor and doesn't make a peep. Fuck that.
People that lie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you kind of get to a point where you're like, no, there's no way you pushed that entire child out without a peep. No way. No fucking way.
Even though I didn't know I was pregnant, women scream and freak out.
Yeah, exactly. And they're basically just dumping those kids into a toilet. So it's like, at first those stories are the funniest. They're like, I thought I just had indigestion for 9 months, but
you know what though? Legit, like I remember when I went into labor with Alexandra.
Yeah.
And then I went to the hospital. You know, caught it early. All is well. And I got to the hospital and they were like, awesome. Pardon?
Caught it early.
Yeah, like it was early labor. It was early labor. So I go to the hospital and they're like, yep, you sure are in labor. And I was like, great, this has gone really well. We got here super early. We got plenty of time before labor gets, because I'm still able to do shit because it's not advanced. It's not bad labor yet.
Right. You're not in hard labor stretches yet.
Yeah. So then it just like stops. And I was like, okay. And we wait all night. And they end up sending us home. They're like, sometimes this happens. Go home. They're like, you might be tired. Go home and take a nap, and get some sleep, because that might be what you need to do to kick things off,
You're like, wait, I thought I was having a baby right now. You're telling me to go back to the house? Fuck you.
Yeah, well, the labor, I just stopped. Like, the contractions stopped, and they waited 6 hours before sending me home. And they were like, man, what the fuck? Well, go home and take a nap. She was like,
no, false alarm. Ha ha.
So I'm like, I'm not really coming. So I go home, I take a nap, I wake up freaking the fuck out, because I am no longer in light labor. I am in heavy labor all of a sudden. I wake up in heavy labor. And I was just like, and I felt like I really, really, really needed to take a shit.
Oh, okay. Now that's fair. Okay.
And I was like, man, if I was on the toilet right now, I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, God, am I about to dump this baby?
Well,
because you just all that pressure.
Well, yeah, and it's scary too, because you're like, okay, so when I was about to give birth, I was told by a doctor who wasn't my normal doctor, but was standing in for my normal doctor who was delivering a baby at the moment. She was like, no, you're not in labor. I was like, I am. And she's like, no. And I was like, no, I am. I know my body, bitch. And she's like, this is your first labor, isn't it? And I was like, I know where you're going with that. Let me just tell you, I'm having this baby today. I'm telling you that I am in labor. And she's like, you should just go home. And if I had listened to that bitch, I literally would have made it halfway home with the baby in my lap on the way to the driveway. Because what ended up happening was I had actually been in labor all day. And I'm such a dick. I literally woke up in the morning and I was like, today's the day. And he was like, nah. You're not even scheduled for your C-section for another week. And I was like, it's coming today. He's here. He's coming. And he was like, no, you're earlier than early. It's not possible, basically. And
that's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. Of course it's fucking possible. People have gone into labor and given birth at 5 months pregnant before.
Thank you.
Absolutely possible.
Leave it to a man to tell you about your body, dumbasses, which we'll get to that. But on top of all of it, it's like, what are you doing? Holding me back from delivering? Come on, let's go. So this is what I did.
Get this show on the road.
Yeah, I packed up our bag and then I went to work all day. And
I know so many women that have gone to work.
Dude, all day.
Over here, you're on leave. When you get to the end of the pregnancy, your maternity leave starts.
See, that's because they're a country that cares about children and families and shit. See, here, we don't even care. I worked all day. And then I had Mexican and with a few friends, because I knew it was going to be my last meal. You know what I mean? I knew what this meant. So I basically kind of summed up my whole day. Then I went to the doctor who told me I wasn't in labor. And I was like, fuck you. And I went to the hospital and I had him 3 hours later.
Yeah.
So
I've got a question for any fill-in doctors out there that might be listening, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys just shit because nobody likes you? Do you have your own patients, or are you just a fill-in doctor? Like a substitute teacher, only the opposite, because everyone's stoked to see a substitute teacher because you don't have to do fuck all day.
I was going to say, they can fuck off.
The stand-in doctor, you're always so bad. Why?
Yeah, your judgment, it's almost like you're the D student that still got the degree. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not here to judge you, but I'm judging you because you're in my vagina right now. And the last person to do that ended up getting me pregnant. So I'm a little uneasy. Stop. I hate the fact that when you're pregnant, you feel like a car being examined from under the hood. They're just like, let me lift that up for you really quick. And you're like, whoa. We don't need to be that close. Why don't we just make sure there's a heartbeat and call it a day? I don't need you to go up my hoo-ha all the time. That's personal. I want that to myself.
Interesting subtext. They don't do that. How they do it every time you go in to see the doctor?
Yeah.
to check and see if you're dilating at all before, like all through your pregnancy to make sure you're intact. They don't do that shit over here. They're just like, why?
They're like that's such a violation.
You seem okay. I don't see you're not bleeding. You're not having any kind of abnormal shit going on. Just fine. Like, why would I need to do that to you?
I love your country.
Oh, my country's a shithole at the minute, but it has some good qualities.
I mean, yeah, you guys are a mess, but we all have that going for us.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, who's not right now? Besides Canada.
Oh, Canada, we love you. I fucking love Canada. In fact, every time I listen to our Canada episode, I'm secretly like happier with my whole day. It doesn't even matter if I'm broke or if nothing has worked out this day. As long as I listen to the Canada episode, I'm happy.
I keep waiting for a politically aware Canadian listener to like message in and be like, actually, we've got this, and this happening. You guys just haven't heard about it.
Never.
And we'll be like, God damn it, Canada, why are you disappointing us like that?
They are literally
to be the beacon.
No, first of all, that's never going to happen. Canada, in my mind, is like the closest version of, it's like onboarding to heaven. Okay. So like, you're like, they're going to make sure. And I've noticed this with Norwegian people are super fucking nice too. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Super fucking nice people.
You run into them and stuff here.
Yeah. So Canadians and Norwegian people, you have my vote. I wish I could get to you and live with you or in you. I can't.
I've heard Icelandic people are super nice, but I've never been to Iceland. Laura has, though. We should ask her about it.
Yeah, we should definitely ask her. Our little host slayer friend.
But you know what, though? The thing about it is that people that visit America are like always talk about how nice Americans are. And I'm just like, that's because you don't live there.
Who says
we're real nice to outsiders?
Are we? I don't know. Ask us at the border. I don't think we are that nice, which is one of the things we're talking about today, because even though we're not going political generally, oh my fuck. What the hell?
I don't consider Mexicans, El Salvadorians, like I consider them part of the country. I don't consider them outsiders. Like you live along the border, and you've lived in Texas. You know this for a fact. You cross over into Mexico, there ain't that much difference.
No, it's
at
the same.
All.
It feels like the same land. Just there's a border.
Yeah, there's a border there, but other than that, like it's pretty much the same shit that you get on the other side when you're in Texas. Like it's exactly the fucking same, except they have more like food carts out on the street, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, that's like New York. That's what I like about New York. You can get food everywhere. I love it.
You know what though? Florida, you hit the Cuban neighborhoods.
Oh, buddy. They're 24 hours, homie. Havana. 24 hours.
You know what?
Best Cuban
My favorite thing about the Cuban area of Florida, even though I have not been there, but I know this to be true because when you travel, you know, you meet everybody else that travels because you're all traveling.
Yep.
And they tell you about the places they've been. And apparently, Cuban neighborhoods, Florida, let's say you're feeling a bit, you know, that's fine. You just pop yourself down to a little stand on the street and you get a fucking little shot of espresso. A shot. And it is strong. And it'll keep you going for like 3 days.
Dude, so that's why I gave a shout out to Havana, because they have the best fucking cafe con leche you've ever had. And that shit. Okay, so I found out, I didn't know this initially, but I found out that it's meant to be, the cup that I get is meant to be poured into tiny, tiny cups for like a family. Yeah. And I just drink that shit myself. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So, and one day the woman just saw me like open the cup and started drinking out of it. She was just like, whoa. and I guess like I earned my Cuban street cred that day, because ever since she has been like auto making my coffee as soon as I walk up there. I go there all the time. They're 24 hours. How can you not go all the time? A Cuban sandwich at any hour. Do you know what that means, people? That means satisfaction no matter how high, hungry, or sad you are.
Next time you're there, you should ask them what's the Cuban phrase for crazy white girl that drinks too much coffee.
They'll be like, shade queen, shade queen, shade queen, shade queen. Dude, they love me over there because at this point, I'm essentially like their mascot. I'm always there like a homeless person, which apparently is frowned upon generally. Being homeless in Florida is not allowed. I don't know if you've picked up on my recent posts, and this is where we're going to open
I
this.
have. Yes.
Dude, I've had it with
I've been
Floridians.
applauding for you from across the pond.
I've had it. I've fucking had it. I am not really the type to be like super outspoken on my Facebook unless you're a total fucking cocksucker. And in that case, I'm gonna let everybody know because I just don't care. And Facebook to me is super irrelevant. So we're gonna start there. I still hate Facebook. But
Yeah.
what I hate more is that I'm having to use it because like I have this new business and it's going well and I have to use Facebook as like an extension of the brand, right? So despite the fact that I'd like to just set the whole fucking unit on fire, it exists and I have to use it.
Oh shit, wait. Before you continue, there's one more thing that we forgot to say.
What?
Welcome to Daddy Issues.
What's up, bitches? Yeah. Welcome. Yeah, we're a little high, so, you know, I haven't finished my coffee, so your expectations of me should be very low. I don't know if you guys know this, but we record at the crack of fucking dawn, so even though it sounds like a show that, like, nighttime viewers will enjoy, listeners, not viewers, listeners, in reality, we're just fucking here at the crack of dawn. We drop our kids at school, and then we're like, okay, we have daddy issues now. Okay. So, thank you, wifey. You have to get yourselves a wife, assholes, because if you don't have one, you're going to forget everything. Without her, my brain wouldn't be attached. She puts it in. Literally, the other day, she was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, why? And she goes, you didn't reach out to me yesterday. And I was like, but like then we had this little.
I was like, what happened? Something happened.
This is why you need a wife. No one else cares if you're dead. Seriously, my own child would be like, I've got the dogs, I've got my bubby, I'm fine, you know. But my wife, no, she'll send out a search party, and she's in a different country. Okay.
Oh, I will. Absolutely, I'll fly over there.
She's like, I'll
gather up your kid and I'll gather up your dogs and be like, right, you're all coming to England because I don't know any of these people. So I can't trust them to look after you.
That's right. You can't. She doesn't trust the system. It's one of her best qualities. Okay, but back to what we were talking about. So recently in my place of business/living, I've been... There's been some like eye rape recently because every time I go like scrolling through my feed and like working on promoting myself, I come across these posts with these, I'm assuming you're a rich white guy, but sometimes you're just an asshole. These people,
if they live in Palm Springs, they're either rich or homeless. There's like no in between there.
They're in Palm Beach. So Palm Springs is a different thing. Palm Springs is for like the gay community. What's up, guys? Palm Beach is where you get rich and you bitch. That's what I've learned. Okay. So like I don't actually blend well here. They're always like, why the fuck did they let her in the city? Because I really am not a fit for this general layout. Like it's either old people or young people who have a lot more money than me, like old money.
Yeah.
You know? So, but that all said, I'm a good girl. Let's do this. Day before yesterday, this is what started all of this. Day before yesterday, a guy posts a video and several photos of what he describes to be homeless people and vagrants, when in reality, I just want to say that this person was inside a Starbucks, very well dressed, and definitely not homeless, probably had dementia.
Yeah.
You know, she was like way too clean to be homeless. I would know. Like, I'm just saying. It might have
been her first day as homeless.
Dude, if she was a new homeless, good for her. She's keeping it real. She looked like she was like straight out of a Ralph Lauren catalog. Like circa 98, but still, everything was fine. Everything was put together. And her shoes were still really like in good condition, which to me, I just know when you're broke, your shoes don't matter anymore.
Well, they matter more than anything, but they get destroyed very,
what
very
I meant.
quickly.
Yeah. Like you care so much, but you don't have extras. But anyway, so this guy writes a post about how essentially he is disgusted with the huge, like basically outraged by the fact that there's so many of these people and, you know, something needs to be done about them. And it's like, okay, hold on. What would you have us do? Because it's not like he's wanting to help them. He's literally complaining about them, acting like they don't belong. They need to go. Okay. First of all, in this area, it's super easy to go homeless because it's very expensive. The jobs are hard to find. Even harder to find one that will actually, you know, qualify you for even an apartment. And God forbid you have a family because you can't afford for all of you to live. And so there's you know, there's a huge difference between, you know, being accosted by someone and just treating homelessness like a disease. And for me, were you like, you're right, something should be done. Let's tax the rich. Oh, I was so pissed, dude. I was so pissed. At first, I tried a passive approach and I was just like, sit down. I'm like, no, you didn't know. Because to me, my first reaction was like, really? You're bitching because you just went to a very expensive restaurant and then decided to get coffee after, which are both luxury expenses that homeless people could not have afforded. But you're bitching because they exist and they're just in your way and they have the audacity to ask you for money. Let me tell you something. In every major city, they're like, it's becoming a huge problem. And recently, there's been talk that the mayor wants to do like a roundup.
And what?
Anytime you say the word roundup to me, I'm like, fuck you. That's not okay.
Yeah, and what? Round them up and what? You gonna put them in the fucking border camps too?
Yeah, well, this is what I was gonna say. So what they're telling people is that they'd provide them with resources and housing and all this shit. It's like, if we could do that, wouldn't we be doing it? We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna fucking do that. Let me tell you something about resources when you're homeless. There aren't enough of them. I was legit homeless and couldn't find a place to live, had a normal job during the day, was a very upstanding citizen, but could not afford to live. Okay? It can happen to good people. People don't understand this. They think everybody who is homeless is a vagrant drug addict. It's not the fucking case.
No. I actually like, what's interesting is that in the homeless community, those, like the addicts, are all known.
Yep.
To everyone.
We avoid those people.
And you either help them or you don't help them.
Right.
But like
I didn't.
I was never an addict. I wasn't nice. I didn't have a nice upstanding job and just couldn't afford to live. I was just like, fuck all of you. I would absolutely slash your tires. But I wasn't an addict. And there is a difference. Not that there's anything wrong with being an addict, because to be perfectly honest, when you're homeless, goddamn, I mean, what the fuck? What does it matter?
I was going to say that too. I will say to you, and this is somebody, I was probably in the darkest state of mind I've ever been in. And if ever there was a time to like latch on to drugs or drinking, it was then.
Yeah.
You know, like I drank. I'm not proud of that. Little Coke. I didn't do a lot of it, but like if it was, dude, I didn't know I'd moved to a trap house and it was like in there.
Yeah.
You know, I thought when I moved to that place, when I finally found a landing space, I was sleeping and sharing a room with someone who, like, we weren't in a relationship. Like, this wasn't somebody I necessarily wanted to live with, you know? It was like my last option because it was freezing in the fucking car. And see, I can't even really claim full homeless because I didn't have to live on the street. And I've seen people do that in New York, and I don't know how they fucking do it. But when people say to you, well, they just need to go, it's like, well, first of all, Florida is one of the warmest places for them to live. And the shelters are full. The rehab facilities are full.
Dangerous as shit.
And I brought that up too. I was like, not only are they full, but they're extremely dangerous. Most mothers won't take their children there because they know how dangerous it is. It's more dangerous to go to a shelter, which is a hotbed for all sorts of criminal behavior, drugs, stealing, rape.
Assault.
All of these things are really prevalent. I remember I stayed in a shelter one night and it was the scariest night of my life. And that includes every night I spent in my car alone in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, you couldn't pay me to go into a shelter when I was homeless. It's like, I'll fucking sleep under a bridge. I don't care. I'm not going in there.
Yeah, well, I didn't know any better. Like, this was my first time being homeless. I didn't have anybody showing me the ropes. Like, if I had met my wife then, first of all, we would have seriously taken the world by storm. We would have literally made homelessness the coolest thing. But since I didn't have you at the time, I had no one to really show me a survival strategy. And I had always had a place to live. And I almost feel selfish saying that because I was so humbled by not being able to come up with what I needed to survive. I was living on nuts that someone had given to me before I became homeless. I had lost such a tremendous amount of weight. People were asking questions about me at work, but I would just lie and say I was nauseous and I wasn't feeling well so that they wouldn't know that I was starving.
Yeah.
And, I thought that was going to be the only post of its kind, but literally within 12 hours, someone else made a post saying, we need to get rid of these homeless people. We needed to do something about this. And not in a proactive, let's help them sort of way. It's let's push them out. Like, they're Mexicans. It's like, come on, guys. What the fuck?
Oh, now that you guys have concentration camps, I have no doubt that there are people that are like, well, hey, we could put other people in these.
This is the worst part. Okay, so we've got a lot of Americans right now that are in serious denial. My mom was watching Fox News the other night, and she...
Oh, Christ.
My parents are Trump supporters, okay? Can you just imagine what it's like?
And that's why I would kidnap your kid and your dogs and bring them to England. The same thing happened to it.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, if I ever go missing, my wife knows what to do, okay? But here's the thing. So she was watching Fox News and up popped these 5 women. She goes, these women are causing so many problems. And I guess they're making all sorts of accusations or whatever. Okay, let me tell you something. And I said this to her. I was like, I don't trust Fox News. I don't trust CNN. I don't trust anything that is broadcast on TV right now. All of them have agendas. All of them need ratings. And all of them need to draw you in. So it's designed to get your attention, not to tell you the truth. If you want to learn anything, get online. It's all out there. Seriously, It is all out there. And, I love that phrase, only believe half of what you read. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so read more and you'll know more because you'll have more to compare it with. If you just compare your news to other news that you see on TV, you're just comparing ratings. You're not really comparing credible news because it started with some facet of the truth and it gets pumped up to make it cool enough to air because we've run out of basic news, like basic bitch news. This just in, the country's
Is that like the E-Network?
Yeah, that's exactly what the E-Network was made for. Shout out to the E-Network. Hope you guys are still alive out there. I wouldn't know. I've never watched it. I mean, I have watched it. I will guiltfully say I've watched the E-Network, but it was because there's no excuse. There's really no excuse. If you watch the E-Network, you shouldn't. The end. Okay? The end. I'm judging you. I'm judging me for having to admit this to all of you. I've watched the E-Network. It's like I need AA for the E-Network. So now I feel like the reason I needed to bring this up is not just because it's something that is going on in my city, but it's something that you've actually lived through and had all of these judgmental people around you kind of deciding the fate of the homeless community that they can't even afford. They can't afford to live. You know, in this one rant this person wrote, they were like, you know, I'm tired of the police accommodating them. And it's like, I'm sorry.
Accommodating them.
I love that phrase because that's exactly what I said. I was like, in what world are they being accommodated? They legitimately, by definition, cannot be accommodated because they're homeless. By definition, they have no accommodation. Dumbass. Yeah. You fucking dumbass. And let me tell you something about when you are homeless. Everybody has this theory that you can go to churches and they're like shelters.
Oh, bullshit.
Take you in and they have, okay. Let me tell you something. I wouldn't have been living in my car if that shit was so easy to get. Okay?
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, for sure.
Period.
I was never helped once by a church of any kind.
Yeah, no, I didn't get any help. And I was like a long time Catholic. Talk about quick reform. I was like, okay, I'll remember this. I don't go to church now. You know, it's not that I don't believe in something. It's just I don't have to support a church that legitimately has no interest in supporting its people when they're down and out. It has the illusion.
No, that's why she worships the horse goddess now.
That's right. You got to do what you got to do, ladies. But so what are your thoughts on what these people are saying and kind of how I reacted? Because I mean,
you reacted exactly how a normal human being should react to shit like that. But their comments are no surprise.
Yeah, no.
People like that have always been like that. And it's like, what do they even think? They're like, oh, well, they just don't have to work. And they're just lazy and they just get given everything. And it's like, if you really believe that, you'd do it too.
Right?
Why would you bust ass every day? If you believed that you could just stop working, go chill on the beach, and just have people give you food and give you stuff all the time, why the fuck are you going to work every day?
That's an excellent
that shit's not true.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. You know.
I'm not going to sit here and act like there aren't people holding signs out there that are completely using other people. You know, they don't really want to hold a job and they are, or some of them have jobs and they just like literally panhandle for a few hours because it's decent money. But I do not get that. I never made like hundreds of dollars. You know, everybody's like, oh, they make all this money in a day. I never ever made loads of money in the day flying a sign. So
ever.
here's what I learned. There's a technique to it. Okay. So there is a technique to it, and this is how I know. I've watched someone do this. Shout out to Joe at 7-Eleven. I've watched him work many a time. So basically what Joe does, and I don't even know if that's his real name, but he kind of makes himself inconspicuous and waits for someone to get out of their car and actually pump their own gas and stand by the pump. And then he'll kind of like, he's a really nice dude. He'll open in a really nice way, but essentially he's asking for some money, right? And then once he gets it, he kind of just wanders off for a minute and then he'll wander back into the same pumping area and do it again. And I have watched this man clear $10 in less than 3 minutes. That's a lot to me.
But that's not something that happens regularly throughout the day, every day.
So I asked him about like what his return is like. And he didn't want to answer me at first, right? And he goes, well, I only do this for a few hours a night. I was like, which means that sustains you. And he kind of nodded. And I was like, how much? And he goes, I make about $200 for 3 hours.
Wow, nice.
That's a lot of money. But think about it. We're in an affluent area.
Yeah, see, usually because we were young and all punk rock and stuff, we usually got run out of those areas by the cops fairly quickly.
That's the other thing. Like, I hate when people are saying that cops accommodate them. Dude, I've seen cops harassing homeless people. I've seen them. Oh,
God, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not the person to talk shit about being homeless to, because I am proof that despite the fact that I was a good worker and I did have an education and I wasn't a person who was just giving up on society, I still didn't have a home.
Yeah.
You know, people have dissolved themselves into believing that the only homeless people are people who don't try, who are addicted to drugs or whatever. or they're alcoholics, however they've mentally labeled these people, you'd be surprised how many aren't. In fact, go to your local Walmart parking lot. Every night, people will sleep in a Walmart parking lot and go to their job the next day. Every night. It's a thing.
Yep.
So these are people who have normal jobs but still can't afford a place to live. That to me is unacceptable. But saying,
you know what's annoying is that is becoming gentrified.
Yeah. Well, they're running everyone out. It's like, where are we going to put them? They're like, well, we're going to round them up and we'll give them these resources. It's like, if first of all, you wanted to do it, it would have been done. Secondly, where are you getting the money for it? Because all these motherfuckers that are complaining about their parking spaces that homeless people can't even put a car in the space to take aren't going to turn around and bust out of their wallets like $400 a year for these people to have lives. They don't care.
No,
they're complaining about their
shit.
fucking parking space that these homeless. This guy was actually bitching about how he has no place to park when he goes to work in Palm Beach, and the homeless people are out of control. I'm like, all right. So here's the thing about homeless
get robbed.
people. You dumb fuck. We aren't paying for parking because we can't. Okay,
right?
Because we couldn't. So, and we don't have wheels. So that's, spoiler alert. Like, what the hell?
And for those of us living in the car, you don't pay for parking. You find free parking.
Yeah, but we shouldn't even be surprised with how people are interpreting, just society as a whole right now. Like, look what's happened. We've got abortion laws that have been overturned. Which I was like, what the fuck? I never thought this could happen. Seriously. Never thought that could happen in my lifetime or ever.
Yeah.
So like I'm sitting here and I'm going, all right, so it's like the mark of the beast. It's as things continue to materialize, I really feel like, are we gonna see a revolution? Are we gonna
I hope so.
Are we gonna see a revolution?
We're either it'll be a long time coming though, because people are so fucking up their own asses and shit. It's gonna get a lot worse before we get to revolution state, because people just don't care. They don't fucking care.
I don't think we have that's my thing too. I don't think we have a society that has the balls and the constructiveness. I don't know what else to call it.
Well, they did their jobs well. The government. They managed to convince everyone, and this has been an ongoing thing since the 1960s because of all the uprisings about the Vietnam War. They've done a very good job at keeping things hidden from the public. Which is why they don't show like war on TV anymore. And they've done a very good job at convincing people to fight each other rather than them. Oh, it's not your fault. It's because of this immigrant. It's because of this homeless person. It's because of these gay people. It's because of women. They've done a very good job in making it to where people cannot be unified in any way at this point, even to the far left of the spectrum. You get people that are like, oh, well, fuck this. We're going to stop, these concentration camps. And then you'll have a whole other group of people that are like, yeah, but we should be focusing on global warming. Yeah, but we should be focusing on this. And it's like, motherfucker, one problem at a time.
Yeah.
It's like the one dude that shows up to the protest with the legalized weed sign, even though the protest has nothing to do with weed. Just time and place, fuck's sake.
This one woman was at a lecture for, like a pro-life lecture. And she was sitting in the audience and she asked a question and she goes, okay, so I get that you're pro-life, but what happens if, because they're really very focused on supporting the mother while she's pregnant. But then what? And that's what this woman asked. She goes, okay, so assuming said woman gets through the entire pregnancy, now what? And this woman's response was so fucking arrogant and exactly what is wrong with this logic. She goes, well, I am pro-life. I'm trying to fix this, huge problem for unborn babies because they don't deserve to go through all of the horrific things they go through during an abortion. And she goes, right, okay, but my question to you is, where are the resources for the mother and the child after the fact if she doesn't adopt the child out? What happens to her? What happens to them?
Yeah.
And she goes, this was her response. She goes, well, it's not my job to fix all the world's problems, but this is the issue I'm focused on because I'm going to fix one issue at a time. And I was like,
they don't care.
I was like,
they don't give a shit.
That is the biggest fucking fuck you without answering the question there is. What she meant to say was, I don't know.
I don't know, and I haven't thought about it because I don't give a shit.
Right.
Because none of this is actually about babies.
Honestly, it's not. It's oh God.
And if she thinks it's fucking bad, like what babies, if she thinks it's bad being aborted as a fetus, like especially in the early stages when you don't even have a nervous system, if she thinks that is bad and that quote unquote babies shouldn't have to go through that, she's going to shit herself when she finds out about the foster care system.
Right. Yep. And here's the other thing. I am not here to tell you whether to be pro-life or pro-choice. What I am telling you is you have to think beyond the pregnancy, guys, because that's actually where we're stuck. I know when I was pregnant, I had resources, but as soon as I had him, I was stuck. I was really stuck. And I hadn't been able to secure resources for him in all of that time. He's almost 3, It's only very recently that I've been able to get coverage, and everybody just assumes it's so easy to get coverage when you need it. No, it's not.
It was easier to move to a different country.
Yeah. I'll bet it was. Because there's a lot of BS that goes on with getting resources from the system or whatever. And even if you're willing to jump through all those hoops, it doesn't mean you get to keep the support that you have, first of all.
Yeah.
And the other thing that really bothers me is that this is the kind of issue where if you don't make abortion available, it's still going to happen. People are still
it's just
going
not going to happen safely.
Right. And that's why I'm not okay with it. I would rather
be the same cycle as the first time. It's only going to matter when something horrific happens to some woman that is white, popular, and well-connected before anybody will give a shit.
Yeah. It's really, I feel like we've kind of reached the pinnacle of BS in our society, but every time I say that to myself, I turn around and some other shit is hitting the fan,
Dude, yeah. Why do you think primitive builders on YouTube is so popular? We've gotten to the point in society where people are ready to just like, fuck it. I'm going to go into the woods. I'm going to dig a hole and I'm going to live in it.
But you can't.
I just can't fucking deal with it anymore.
You can't. That's the worst part. You can't even do that. They don't.
Why can't you do that?
Because they are pushing people out of forests and the whole shit right now. Right now.
Why?
Yes, dude. You have to check this out. It's really bad. So in the U.S., and I don't know if this is happening in other countries, but in the U.S. right now, they're pushing homeless people who have been living off the land in parks, or rural land that isn't marked and not private land, not privately owned land. They're being pushed out. They're actually hiring staff to get rid of these people because they're not covered. Like the areas aren't covered or what am I trying to say? Not covered. They're not, oh God, what is the word I'm looking for? They're not controlled areas, meaning like there's no park rangers, there's nobody that has influence over that area. So what the government is doing is they're hiring people to do this just for these areas they don't even own to get rid of homeless people living off the land. Which, by the way, a lot of them are just like wilderness lovers who just don't want to fucking live on the grid.
And where are they putting them?
Nowhere. They're just chasing them out. They're like, you can't be
and then
here.
And then they just come right back in, and the cycle continues. So they're just wasting a ton of money on this.
I'm sure they are. I guarantee that some of them are smart enough to go back, unless the areas are then closed off. But how can you close off an area you don't own?
You can't. They can't even keep us out of festivals, and they've got actual security at festivals.
That is so true.
Let alone just like hundreds of miles of woodland. Good luck, guys.
Dude, and then we've got the wall, and he's been building this whore fest for a minute. It's like, you know,
he's all this time, all that money. He's built like what, 20 feet?
Well, he's super proud of it. All right. and let me just tell you, that is the most reinforced piece of shit. Designed by whoever doesn't matter because it's being built by Mexicans. It probably, have you watched that video I posted of the rocks that they're breaking open with huge bricks of cocaine and like heroin and shit? I was like, they're probably making the wall out of that.
Probably.
Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious if the actual shit they were making the walls out of was drugs?
That'd be hilarious.
That would be ironic and shitty fucking funny as shit. I would love that. In my wildest dreams, that's my hope. I hope that somebody hits it with like an anvil one day and like all the drugs start falling out of the wall like a piñata. Like that's my dream. Just as a final fuck you. Not only does your wall not work, but also there's more. Like the shit wow guy. But wait, there's cocaine. I don't even know if that's the drug we're most afraid of. According to Trump, like all the drugs that are coming through are going to be ended by this tiny bitch wall. That, by the way, we already
know that most of that a lot of the drugs that we have in the States starts in the States, right? Like we know how to make cocaine.
Yeah, and meth and heroin. Everybody's figured it out over here. You're not going to get rid of the drugs. And he's like, well, this is the cartels and all the things that we don't want. And, you know.
Well, see, okay, look, here's the thing. The cartels are bad.
Yeah.
The cartels are scary as fuck. And absolutely mow them down. However, every single Mexican person isn't a fucking cartel member. Just like every single person that lives in New York is not a member of the fucking mafia. You know,
that's
come
true.
the fuck on. That's like we're gonna bomb all of New York because you know the mafia.
Because of the mafia.
We got to get rid of the mafia. They're dangerous. And it's like, yeah, but there's a city of several million people there. Well, they're all New Yorkers, aren't they? So they're probably just as bad. And you don't know which ones are in the mafia and which ones aren't. So you just got to take them all out.
I just want to say out loud to whoever, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I have never seen it work out to like gather people up and get rid of them. Whether you're saying you're moving them away.
That's called genocide.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I love how people right now are saying, well, the people that are stuck at the border and are in these cages basically had it coming because they knew they weren't welcome here. It's like, let me tell you something. If they knew they had it coming and still came, you got to ask yourself why.
Yeah. They didn't just say, I'm sure that's over-exaggerated. Fake news. The Americans are lovely.
Dude, I don't think any Mexican at this point is like, they are going to be great to us. No.
Yeah, right? It's not.
Nobody comes over here thinking it's going to be a warm welcome. You're right about that. But the problem is that I don't think they expect to be like not fed, soiling themselves, have the same clothes for however long. Like, one thing that really struck me is they took away their religious items. And that, to me, was a huge fucking red flag.
Well, the fact that they have concentration camps and make no mistake,
they're not calling them
like
that.
Gets but heard about me calling that. Just look up the definition of a concentration camp, please, and then shut your fucking mouth. That's exactly what they are.
Notice
now, if they start killing people in mass, those concentration camps become death camps.
Right. Yeah.
It ain't hard.
Right.
It's not complicated. It's really fucking not. Just admit that you're a piece of shit and you don't care that there are concentration camps on the American border, and go about your day. Don't sit there and fucking argue language with me.
It's like that meme I posted the other day. Ask them if they like children in cages. And then they were like, the response is, well, they knew the risks before they came. And then it says, ask them if they like children in cages. And then they're like, well, we don't need all of the problems that this brings with them. And then it says, ask them if they like children in cages. Just keep asking. Because the bottom line is still the fucking truth. I had someone say to me the other day, and I literally almost threw up because I couldn't believe they were serious. They were like, those photos of the concentration camps, as my wife has dubbed them,
it's not real. Me, it's the definition.
But they were like, it's not real. Those photos are just to get people attention and make them feel bad for them. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Oh, okay. What do they think? Okay, here's what I want to know. What do they think is happening then? Do they think that they're in 5-star hotels and they're just like, right, guys, we should do a photo shoot to show that, like, pretend like we're being treated really shitty? Just for reasons? What?
For reasons?
What the fuck is that even?
They're really fake. Bad.
Are they?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Why? By who? For what fucking reason?
Right. Yes, exactly. And, like, it's really bad when a government official is sent to go do essentially like a health check at one of these facilities, and then it goes, oh my God, we have to do something. Like, doesn't even finish his stay before he sends the report.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing. It's like,
and he's supposed to be the one that hides the BS. Like, he's supposed to be the one that they're like, no, Joe, don't report that. And he's like, no, I got to report this before someone ends up finding out that isn't us.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, you remember Abu Ghraib?
No.
Okay. A few years back, before I moved to the UK, there was a big story about one of our POW camps overseas. And all this video and all these pictures came out of these soldiers torturing these inmates. And there was a huge outcry. And most of the soldiers in the pictures went to jail or were dishonorably discharged or whatever. But they never looked at the conditions that caused it. And there was a book written called The Lucifer Effect, which was comparing Abu Ghraib prison to the Stanford prison experiment.
Oh, the Stanford prison experiment is phenomenally interesting.
Yeah, well, it played out exactly like that in Abu Ghraib because of the conditions of Abu Ghraib. Now, what we have here with these concentration camps on the border is even a worse scenario. Because not only do they have the same shitty conditions set up for, asylum seekers and refugees being abused and mistreated, but we also have a scenario where these same guards are not only under those regular pressures, but under extra pressures because they are actively surrounded by protesters and they have people coming in and checking, and they have all the attention on them. Mm-hmm. So that is even further trigger. What do you think? Right. Let's say you wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready, leave for work. People scream at you all the way there. And then you walk in, you don't want to be there. And these people are locked up in there that you don't even see as human because you're obviously a piece of shit because that's where you're working.
Yep.
It's a fucking recipe for disaster, and it's going to get really bad. And the problem is, not enough people are going to give a shit when it gets really bad. It's like I was talking to my mom the other day.
It's bad right now. I mean, it doesn't have to get
worse. That's
what
I mean. It's 11 have died so far.
Is that it? I would have thought the number was higher than that. I'll bet the number is higher than that. I'll bet it's higher than what's being reported because the conditions they're in lend itself to people dying. There's disease already. No
sanitation. They can't clean themselves.
Guaranteed. Some of these women are going to have babies that are born out of rape. I guarantee it. Because they have no way to protect themselves. And separating parents from their children, I don't care who you are, That's fucking barbaric. I don't care if the way they came in here was illegal. Fine, arrest them if you absolutely have to do that, okay? But I'm not okay with you taking children from their mothers.
Yeah. If I still lived over there, I would just sit on the border
Jesus.
in a big ass truck and just watch for families trying to cross and being like, come on, I'll get you through. Come on.
Dude, you'd be the ultimate
hide under there, I'll drive you across. We're
I'm
going.
your spiritual leader.
I just on the other side of the river. You make it across the Rio Grande and I will give you a lift into the country. Guaranteed. I will give you water, I will give you snacks, and I will cut you loose because fuck them.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you feel like okay, so someone comes into the country illegally. They aren't welcome here. They need to go through the proper channels and process. But they're here illegally anyway. So now they're here. What in an ideal world happens? Pretend no one gets a vote except you. What happens to them?
If no one gets a vote except for me, then there's no such thing as coming into the country illegally. No human being is illegal. If you want to move here, move here. I don't give a shit. Move here. Okay. And it goes for every other country. If I had global domination, if I was the uncontested ruler of the world, there wouldn't be borders anymore. If you want to move to England, move to England. You want to move to Spain, move to Spain. None of this fucking tests and I just don't give a shit. And the thing is that what you'll find is, let's say you're a terrorist, right? Mm-hmm. There's no longer borders. There's no longer countries. It's all run by me. Who's your enemy? You know?
Yeah.
It's none of that death to America, fuck Afghanistan. Fuck, none of that can exist anymore because there is no national identity. You want to be pissed off with somebody? Be pissed off with me.
And you're like,
I guarantee you my security detail will be ridiculous.
Dude, you'd be honestly, if I'm going to give anybody power of the world, it probably wouldn't be to you. I love you, but I probably wouldn't give it to you because you scare me sometimes. But barring if on those days I could give you some of my guidance, we'd be good. We'll be fine.
Oh, of course.
Because
you'd be living in my massive cabana.
Oh, nice. See? This is why I love her.
You'd be with me. You'd be one of my top advisors. I'd be like, girl, you would not believe the shit today.
We'd be talking about the entire world, and she'd be talking about it like a bad boyfriend. She'd be like, you will not believe what Russia did yesterday. Oh my God. And China.
That's right. Honestly, I would dissolve borders. I would get rid of all of that shit. I would give everyone a basic living wage.
Would you name like the all-encompassing world anything, or would you just be like, "This is world now. You live in world."
But you know what? It depends on how pissed off I am when I get the power handed over to me. Probably, like if I've been pushed to that point, it would just be world. It'd be like, you live in world. That is what you have.
This is what you have now. Instead of Doctors Without Borders, it's
everything
Lily.
Without Borders.
It's Lily. It's Lily Without Borders.
I think
boundaries.
It's stupid. I think it's fucking ridiculous that everyone has to jump through all these hoops and get super up their own ass with pride or shit on other people just because of some fucking imaginary lines drawn on the land by old white people years ago. Why? It's fucking stupid. It's pointless. It's unnecessary. Just get rid of them. Just get rid of them.
Sing it, sing it. Oh, get it out. No, I implicitly trust her judgment when it comes to anarchism. Because, like, she generally, first of all, she's made it through life longer than I have, and she seems genuinely happy with her life. So, like, if I at some point can be that happy, then I'm doing all right. Although I'm working on it. I have some good news to share with the class.
Share your good news.
Yeah, the horses are coming home to mommy.
When are they getting there?
End of the month. So
I'm so happy for you.
I don't have a specific move date yet, but it is the end of this month. So I will see them very soon, and there will be like lots of photos and lots of tears and hugs. And then I can't break my arm again. I'm all healed up. It took 4 months. I'm finally here now. And yeah, like I can't, to quote my doctor, don't go flying off a horse now. I was like,
Oh, great.
okay.
But that's my exact plan.
That's kind of part of the job, but what? Okay. But yeah, I'm very excited. They're going to be like 10 minutes away from my house, which is it's the tits.
That is so great. I'm so happy for you. I really am, because I know how much you've missed them.
I've never been so excited to pick up horse shit in my life. Like, I can't wait to pick up their little piles of shit in the morning, because to me, there is something, people are going to think I'm crazy, but like being in a barn, smelling a horse.
Don't worry, honey. People know that horse women are crazy.
They are. We are. There's a woman right now that sees my therapist, and she told her husband, she's dead fucking serious. Serious as a heart attack. She's like, he wants to move to Georgia. I told him we're not going to unless he has enough property for me and my horses. And he thought I was joking, and she's like, I will file the paperwork. She was like, I will stay here with the horses. And
girl's got her priorities right.
Dude, that is company standard here. If you want to keep me, you keep them too. If you don't want to keep us all of us, then fuck you. We're fine without you. Yeah. I would rather be without a man or a woman and have my horses. I'm good.
I mean, you don't really need them, do you?
No.
Like, keep your horses, keep your tribe.
Right. See, here's the thing, and I make this argument to people a lot. I have better luck with animals and longevity than I do with people. So, and it's not that I'm antisocial, it's just that if someone turns into an absolute jackass, I won't miss you.
Oh, you know what you should do when you get your horses? Some more wifey life advice here that you should probably ignore. When you get your horses... Mm-hmm. You should immediately quit your job and become a traveling gunslinger.
Jeez, that's awesome. Is that still a job?
Why can't it be? Let's make it a thing.
Okay. If your mom can get behind us on this, I'll feel a lot safer.
You probably could. You probably could legitimately do, like, especially if you do like trick shots and stuff like that. You could like go and do that in carnivals and shit, and just travel around with your horses as a gunslinger. I know you could wear like a kick-ass duster.
I know you're generally anti-gun, but I have to tell you right now, I am really good with a gun. Like better.
I'm not anti-gun. Okay. To clear it up for any listeners, I am not anti-gun. My philosophy is that either no one's allowed a gun, and I mean no one, no soldiers, no police officers, no one, or everyone gets a gun, which means that government has to like assign you your own gun, and everyone has one. It's got to be an even playing field. Either no one has a gun or everyone has a gun.
I'm going to be honest. I don't want the government giving me my gun. They probably don't give a shit about how good it is. And I do.
Yeah, it would have to be like a standard issue spec. Like, this is what everyone gets kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, obviously, if you want to buy more guns for yourself, then you could. Yay. But everyone would at least have one.
Yeah, I respect the shit out of Australia for being like, nah, no guns here anymore. We're good. And their crime went down, their murder went down, and it's like, duh. I mean, there are still people that have guns in Australia. I guarantee you, there's a motherfucker who buried his guns and is like, no, you're not taking my guns. No, you're not. But
good luck restocking them, though, because once they're illegal, that's what everybody says. I'm going to bury my guns. I'll bury loads of ammo. And it's like, bury it, because you'll never get to shoot it. Because if you do shoot it, you won't be able to restock your ammo. And then you'll be out. And then you'll just be sat there with your gun like, well, it was the principle of the thing.
You're like, I just didn't want to give him my guns. It was personal. This one I call Cheryl, and I love her. I'd rather have her in my yard than let him take my girl. I don't know why my Australian accent is a fucking Western movie, but whatevs.
Dude, Australia is redneck as fuck, man. There's like the main cities, which is pretty chill, but everything outside of that, all their little towns, is just like Arkansas with a beach.
That is going in our intro. Everything else is Arkansas with a beach. I love that. Love it.
It fucking is. It's like, they're redneck as fuck over there.
Dude. Are they neck
So
and neck?
actually, that even makes it more of a surprise that they were able to pull off getting rid of the guns.
Yeah,
you know?
actually
It's like,
does, because
holy shit. If they managed it, then anyone can.
Go on, America, give it a shot, see what happens.
Or NRA, step up and start lobbying to issue everyone a gun. Everyone. Even the black people, even the homeless people, even the Mexicans, even the punk kids, even the anarchists, everyone. Because you're all about guns, aren't you? NRA, eh?
They love the guns. They love the bullets.
Love their guns.
They love the violence.
So why not lobby for guns for all? Guns for all!
she does mean include the homeless. I know you fucking Palm Beachers. They're like, they don't get one. Yeah, they do. Everyone
gets one. Remember that cannibal that ate that guy's face in Florida? He would get one too.
I'll bet that would you'd either see a spike in crime or a silence in crime, because everybody would be like, but they have one too.
Yeah, but they have one now. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that could work. I don't know. Guns are not the answer, you know? But at the same time, don't take mine. You guys can take whatever you want, but don't take mine.
See, that's why I have the philosophy that I do, because it's like, yeah, they're not the answer, but they exist. They are a thing, and they have to be dealt with. So either no one or everyone.
Well, and here's the thing:
if I'm running the world, I'd let people vote on that. Those would be your two options to vote on: either no one or everyone gets a gun.
Yeah.
And if the no one gets a gun passed, imagine what wars would be like. Because there's no fucking guns. You don't get any. No one gets any. You're gonna have to go out and fist fight on the battlefield. Use swords or something.
You know what? Okay, so I was talking to somebody the other day about why, and I felt like a decent argument for why swords should be allowed again, rather than guns. Because I was like, listen, if you come at me with a sword, I'm more likely to have a chat with you instead of, you know what I mean? It's like, wait,
yeah.
this is gonna hurt more than a bullet. And to me, like, if
people aren't so quick to kill. If you have to actually go up and do it yourself, it's harder.
Yeah. This is point blank range in a way you're not used to. You have to clash swords and hope your sword is the better one. And also that you didn't drink too much the night before, because if your aim is off, somebody's missing arms, and it could be you.
Dude, I would be like, if they voted no guns and that's how it ended up, once I take ownership of the universe, like, I would so hope that we would end up with like roaming bands of women that were armed with like whips and bow and arrows and just being badasses.
Speaking of, we have to
fucking Boudica and shit.
We have to have a chat about you subs out there. You subs, you slaves, you fuck ups. Okay, listen. My wife is a little disappointed, and I have to say she's pleasantly surprised with one, disappointed in the other. So can you enlighten our world? Because I don't want to get too far off the beaten path here. You know, it's one of those things where I'm bringing this up for a reason. If you are a sub or a slave, and there is a difference, which my wife will happily explain to you, noobs. Whether you're a sub or a slave, you need to hear this, because us as dominants, we look for specific things, and when you let us down, we will fucking walk because we're in charge here. So, my wife, go please. First, explain the difference between a sub and a slave, because some people do not know the difference. Okay.
Well, if you ask members of the community, you're going to get 500 different answers. But to me, a submissive, they get a bit more range of negotiation. They get a bit more like say in how they're treated and what they're responsible for. Whereas a slave, the only option, you can either be a slave and serve exactly as I say, or you can not be my slave and move on with your life and find somebody else.
Right.
Those are the only two options. Slaves is giving up all rights completely, whereas a sub maintains some rights of, their own personal selves.
And can negotiate those rights at a later point.
Absolutely. And also, there's something I wanted to talk to you about, or well, talk to everyone about, really. And it's, hold on, give me a second. Let me get my brain in order. Yes. Click this. I was on a walk earlier, And while I was on a walk, I was thinking, because I was like hurrying back so that we could record. Mm-hmm. And I thought of there's this saying when it comes to negotiating with a slave or a sub. Well, shouldn't they get something out of it too? Yeah, it can't just be all about you. They've got to get something out of it too. And I'm going to tell you why that is bullshit. Everybody that's into BDSM right now is like ready to lynch me. But listen, hear me out, okay? What I mean by that is that instead of making concessions and saying, this is what I want, but I guess I can allow this and this because they've got to get something out of it too. No, don't. Find someone that gets out of it what you are wanting to put into it. Find someone that what you want is exactly what they want. Because then they are getting something out of it and you're not having to compromise yourself in any way just because, oh, well, they've got to get something out of it.
Right. You're finding an exact match.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people may, well, because he likes this or she likes that, so we'll put that in. And if it's something minor that the Dom doesn't give a shit about, fine. But if it's like actual dynamic stuff, don't.
Yeah.
Just don't. Because it's not sustainable. And you're going to get bored with it. Okay. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with what we were talking about, but I just wanted to put that out there because that saying is bullshit. They should get out of it exactly what you're getting out of it without having to fucking move things around for them.
Mentally, emotionally. They shouldn't have to make accommodations to fit. They either fit or they don't. And I tried explaining this to someone. It's not like a relationship where you accept certain things that no.
Yeah, you're not the girlfriend.
Like right. Hashtag not your girlfriend.
Not your girlfriend.
I love saying that to people.
But yeah,
I say it all the time.
What you were mentioning earlier, I dismissed my lady in waiting.
Yeah.
Because of the simple fact that when we first started talking, I'm straight up. I was just like, I expect this, and this of you.
Right.
And she was like, that is no problem. I can absolutely do that, blah, 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 blah. But then over time, realized that she actually couldn't. She couldn't travel as much as she thought. She couldn't do as much as she thought. She couldn't do it. She wasn't financially able to. And so instead of evaluating that, she messaged me and was like bitching because I wouldn't go to her. I wouldn't make all these accommodations for her. No, that is not what I'm here for. If you cannot do what you said that you could do, that's nothing to do with me. That is on you. When we talked initially, you knew exactly, I laid out exactly what I expected of you. If someone serves me, this is what you have to be able to do. And you can't do it. That doesn't mean you have to, you expect me to make up for that. Because I am not your girlfriend.
Right. Right.
But my slave has exceeded all expectations so far.
So proud of this one. We'd give it a name, but they have to earn the name now.
Oh no, it's never going to have a name again. Once it earns a permanent place, then we'll have it registered and it'll have a number.
Okay.
But it's never going to have a name.
Okay.
And he came out, he followed instructions to the fucking letter. And busted ass all day, worked very hard in the hot sun, and was grateful for it. He left me a lovely journal entry about his day, and that is exactly the type of slave I'm looking for. He was grateful for the work. He saw it as nothing but a positive. He enjoys doing what I enjoy giving.
Yeah, that's kind of perfect because, it's like you said, if you don't have a perfect match, you're going to be overextending or they're going to be overextended. And that's not a sustainable dynamic. Notice I didn't say relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it is a relationship of sorts, but it's not a relationship in the traditional sense at all.
Exactly.
And I won't behave like it is.
Right.
You know, having personal subs and slaves are a luxury.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, they are.
Not a necessity. I could cut every single one of them loose tomorrow and go on about my life as if nothing had happened.
She would literally just call me and smoke a cigarette as if you didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't even talk about the fact that you pissed her off, really. She'd be like, oh, I dismissed A, B, C, D. And
that's
I have
the thing.
To have
like,
my tea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. She didn't piss me off. I was never angry with her.
Right. No.
I just saw it like, okay, so you didn't fully take into account your situation, and you're not going to be able to do what you said you'd be able to do. So there's absolutely no point in continuing this.
Right.
You know?
And she was like,
clearly yeah, it's not like she's bad. It's just an incompatibility it's just straight up, we are not compatible. You are more needy than I am willing to deal with.
I love it.
Not in like a mean way, just like realistically, no.
You're higher maintenance than I need.
Exactly. You know, you're supposed to serve me, not the other way around.
I really emphasize that with slaves. I'm like, no. If you think I'm going to do shit for you, you're confused. And
this new slave though, man, let me tell you, he's made me so discerning. When I take on any more, they're going to have to be
at least
like
as good
to
as
that
him.
standard, at least.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That you have that, you know, that you have it. I don't have that. I dismissed all my slaves. You don't belong here. I'm done. I'm done. I don't need to.
Why did you dismiss all of them? What happened?
They're just.
Are they all shit?
Yeah.
Good subs are hard to find. People think it's easy, but it's not.
No, it's not. And the other thing is I've explained this to you. I don't set up any sort of emotional relationship in that I already tell you where I'm at before anything. You don't get me, period.
Yeah.
The end. I'm not up.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. This isn't, you basically work here, okay? Like, for me, for free, or if I want you to pay me. So, but it's definitely not one of those, and my slaves were not consistent enough for my liking, and I would rather not waste my time at all if you're not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite frankly,
it's best to just hold out and find a good couple of slaves.
Exactly.
That then fuck around with dregs.
I mean, my energy and time are valuable. I have so much more available time that's going to give me more than my slaves were. So unless that ever changes, that's the way it is now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. He was like my lady in waiting. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about,
right?
You know, wanted me to come and stay for weekends, wanted me to come do that, and it's just like I can't do that. I have a life,
right?
You know, I mean, it just end of. I have a life. I have my own shit going on. I have my own family. I have my own friends. I'm not coming to stay with you,
right?
In your little flat for the weekend. No.
'Cause ew.
And honestly, like all of this, none of this was a surprise. All of this was discussed beforehand.
Right. It would be different too. See, that's the biggest thing that I emphasize with other dominants is clarity. Be honest up front. If they don't hear you, that's their fault. But be very honest up front. Give them the option to say no. If you're going to not be, you know, having sex with them, if you're not going to be sending them photos, if you're not going to be intimate with them in certain ways, you say it. Fucking say it. Because they have the right to say, that's not what I'm looking for. I want this, and that.
Exactly. Even playing field. You go, they come up to you and say, hey, I'd love to serve you, and say, okay, I expect this, and this, and this. Up front, straight away.
Right.
Because that is the only decision that they have full control over.
Exactly.
Whether or not to serve you.
Right. And I feel like after they accept what you've told them, if you were honest, that's the deal. So if they change, okay, it's with subs, I feel like you can renegotiate. If you're a slave, you cannot.
No, you can't. Now, don't get me wrong. If situations, let's say that my slave, loses his job tomorrow and he is destitute and he has nothing all of a sudden for reasons. I don't know. His house burns down or something. I don't know. That's clearly beyond his control. You're not penalized for that. I wouldn't dismiss somebody because of a sudden life change like that. But if your life is a certain way and you don't look at it realistically and think, I can do this, and then you can't, that's on you.
Right.
You have to be honest with yourself. If you want to serve someone, be honest with yourself about your abilities, or don't serve at all. And it's a waste of time.
Right, because at that point, you're going to be dismissed.
Exactly. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time. Be honest with yourself and find a dom that's compatible.
Right. And that's why I didn't step down. I don't step down. But what I did do is I kicked them out. I'm like, no, I've got more valuable time. I didn't say that to myself, but it was more like this time that I'm using could be so much better spent making more money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the business owner in me was like, fuck this. I don't need you to tell me how shit is. I'm going to tell you or not do it. Because this is the thing. I am different than some other findoms out there that I see struggling, that are like young mothers and they're selling all these photos and stuff like that. I wasn't going to do that. And because women out there I already knew that I was a different market, right? And that's fine. But at the same time, the maintenance that's required for a sub, oh, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not. I don't owe you shit. You knew exactly what you were getting into, like it or not.
Yep.
So
exactly.
I dismissed mine just the way you dismissed Karis, because it was like, well,
this new slave though,
you're like,
I'm gonna keep him.
It's working. You're like, it's working.
We'll see how he does. But so far, he's doing really well.
Yeah,
I'm super proud of him.
He is. I saw him doing his job. I was like, wow, good work. Literally working outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, you can't say that you want to be a slave and not be a slave.
Right.
You know? And he has his own life and his own shit.
Yeah.
Outside of this, you know, he doesn't need to. He's not super needy. He's just like, you know, if I want to ignore him, I ignore him. It's my prerogative as his mistress. And he just comes when he's called.
That's what I was going to say. The fact that he respects that boundary is what makes him a good slave.
That is exactly right. Now I just need to find another, like, one or two of them, and we'll be good.
Don't you guys love her? She's great. I'm living still vicariously through you. And I'm good with it. I'm totally good with it. But since you've been so busy, I came up with a strain of the week.
What is it? Go on.
So, Super Silver Haze is the topic of this week's strain of the week, which I'm super excited about. I told my wife, I was like, okay, so I have some ideas and I want to share them. And when I was telling her, like, a couple of the strains I was considering, she was pretty sure one of them, Star Dog, we had already gone over. So that one was kaput. So we're going to do Super Silver Haze, which I have to tell you, I was really impressed with how fluffy and like it's fluffy, but it's dense. You know, like these buds like weigh something. When you have them in your hand, you're like, well, okay, it's like a little gold nugget, you know, there's a little bit of weight to it. I'm so excited to do another strain of the week. I feel like I'm channeling you. Dude, seriously.
I'm excited to hear it.
I've been working on this. Like I technically had 3 contenders, but Super Silver Haze is the one that won.
I love it.
All right.
I love a haze though.
Right? It's to me, it's such a luxurious high. I feel like Snoop Dogg. I feel so relaxed and it's all good. And by the way, I posted a video of Snoop Dogg on a podium doing, you know, one of those, you know, when you get an award or something and you do the thank you speech.
Yeah.
You got to check it out.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I want to thank myself.
I want to thank me for believing in me.
Dude, I fucking love him.
I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always being a giver and trying to give more than I receive. I want to thank me for trying to do more right than wrong. I want to thank me for just being me at all times. Snoop Dogg, you a bad. Thank you, cuz. I appreciate it.
Okay, this week's strain of the week is Super Silver Haze, which I'm super excited to share with you guys because not only have I tried this, but when I first smoked this, I was explaining to my wife a minute ago, I really like how a haze affects me. Yeah, so it's like
love a haze.
Yeah, it's a luxurious high, you know, like, and not all highs are luxurious. Okay, some of them, I even get antsy, okay? So,
yeah.
And I want to say that this is supposed to be a sativa. So, like, it is a stimulant, but because of the haze factor, it's pretty chill. Like, I had a great experience while smoking it. I never felt anxious, but I only smoked a bowl at a time. So that's all I needed, and I smoke a lot. So
I was just gonna say, like, with a good strain, you don't need to smoke more than that usually. Right. Just a nice fat bowl. Yeah. And you're good.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so it's a hybrid, but it's a sativa. So I don't know how they how does that work? When it's still a sativa, but it's a hybrid?
It's just a hybrid between 2 different sativas.
Okay. Well, here's where it comes from.
I don't know in this case, but usually.
So we're going to go back in time to where Super Silver Haze was first invented.
No!
Yeah, so it's part indica, which is Northern Lights. Great strain, okay? Northern Lights is the shit. It's like this beautiful
I love Northern Lights.
Yeah, it's like a pine earthy high. Ooh, it's so delicious. If you like
Northern Lights is like what you picture when you picture weed.
Oh,
when somebody says the word weed, you just picture like Northern Lights.
It's delicious. It's seriously, I feel more knowledgeable about nature after smoking Northern Lights, but I'm so chill though, I can't do anything about it. Like, I have all this knowledge, but I'm not sharing with anyone. Which is why they added a regular haze, which is their sativa. Okay, they didn't tell us what they threw in there. It just says sativa and it's a haze. So they were real vague there. But then they threw in skunk #1. So it's got a nice mix of...
Wait a minute. Did they grow this on fucking Pot Farm? Because I swear to God, one of the strains on Pot Farm was Northern Lights and skunk #1.
Dude, that would... You have to see this, though. Like, it's a really... Okay, so I'm looking at a photo of it. I just wanted to make sure it was the same one I had. It's got lots of crystals, okay? So, like, when you smoke this, I recommend that you put it in a bowl so you get the crystals, too. Because otherwise, you're not getting, like, the full... I mean, you could smoke a joint. That'd be really nice and luxurious. and get the crystal effect. But I use bowls, and man, it's like really dusty. I mean, real nice.
Yeah.
So it comes in bright green. It's got kind of an earthy citrus flavor. So you get the earthiness from Northern Lights and the citrus probably from the skunk.
Yeah.
And it's sweet too. But it's not, as sweet as like Gorilla grapes or anything like that. So don't get ready for like a cocktail over there. It's more earthy than it is sweet. Like I wouldn't describe it as sweet per se. But the high is really nice. It's functional. So here are some of the effects. So it'll make you super happy. You're going to have more energy, but it's not, I think one of the reasons I don't get anxious on it is because it's not a super energetic strain. So for those of you that just want to like get through your day and you're not wanting to have like a super intense workout, this is a good strain. Like I can get through all of my job, all of my,
sounds a bit like Girl Scout cookies.
So
in that way,
I don't have any comment on Girl Scout cookies because it does nothing for me. So you would know better than me. It does nothing for me.
That's so strange.
Everybody says that. I know, it's weird.
It's just your body chemistry is just like nah.
And, so because it's a haze, you get that nice, relaxed, euphoric high. It's not very dominating, but like I said, you have enough energy to like run all your errands in the day or get through all of your tasks for your business. So I love this. It's a highly functional strain. It's one of the reasons I liked it. It's kind of, you're not going to have the munchies super bad with this one. I didn't. And I don't really feel like the munchies are dominating with this particular strain. So you don't have to eat yourself out of house and home. You'll get through your day with just like your normal diet.
Yeah. Which is always good.
But it's great. This is the other reason I like it so much. It's great for stress. So if you're having a lot of drama at work or you're at home, it's a great strain to kind of decompress, and you're still going to be able to answer all your questions easily, answer people's questions easily without like feeling like a dumbass. So it's good. Okay, so negative effects, obviously dry mouth. It's weed, people. Come on, get over it. Dry eyes. Anxiousness is at a minimum with this one. So I would just say for me, I'm a daily smoker. And I would not, and I used to smoke a lot. I don't need to anymore. But for someone who smokes every day like me, I still only need a bowl of this. It's really potent shit. Like, I probably would get anxious if I smoked 2-3 bowls of it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of hard to grow for you growers out there. It says that it takes indoor flowering time 74 days. Average yield is medium. Which I'm not surprised because, like I said, it's very dense. It feels like a gold nugget in your hand. You feel the weight of that bud. But it's delicious, and you can get it at any of the True Leaf dispensaries down here in Florida if you're a medical patient. I'm sure that they have this in Colorado and California, no holds bar. So check it out. You should definitely check it out. Oh, and what's up, Hawaii? I heard you decriminalized weed. Congratulations. Woo! That's like one step closer to actually making it okay.
Dude, Hawaii it's just, what a paradise on earth. That was their last step. Yeah. Legalizing weed.
Dude, I just want to tell you that I feel like the country is coming around, and this one old guy made a really good point. He said, where they've legalized it, I guess they were having problems and not making as much money. I don't really know how all that works, so I'll have to give you a more intelligent update about that. But he was saying that that's why Florida's holding back from legalizing it. It's not that they don't really want to. It's that they're afraid if they do, there will be some of the drawbacks they saw in Colorado. I'm like, Colorado's up $1 billion. Just want to say that.
Right. Colorado's doing fine.
They're doing okay. They're actually funding programs they never could before. And they have weed camp, which I think is dope. No pun intended.
Dude, weed camp? I've not heard about weed camp.
Okay, so let me educate you, my darling. Okay?
Yes.
Because we're still in a strain of the week mode. So let me tell you. Okay, weed camp is super dope. And now I'm intending the pun. Because you go into the wilderness at this established camp. They have weed-infused activities. So, like, you can bring weed, smoke weed, have weed, you know, like at the camp, and they have like all this kumbaya shit. You get food, like great food. Okay. Cause it's like Stoner Village, right? And then, you know, you can ride horses. They do established hikes. They do meditations. They do like this, in the summers, they do like rafting and shit. I'm like, you do all this? I bet this would be awesome if I were high.
Right? I want to go to weed camp.
So, if you want to send these two bitches to weed camp, do so by donating right now to paypal.me/tiptheladies. It's in the show
would
notes.
live stream at any and all opportunities.
Dude,
if we got sent to weed camp.
I won't wear a shirt, okay? I will literally go in some form of a top, but like not a shirt, okay? Like either my bikini or a bra, probably if I'm high enough, not even that. So you guys can see another side of shade, okay? So I'll make it worth everybody's time if you just make it financially feasible for us, okay? Okay. I think weed camp is, I don't see myself. I feel like they probably have like a ayahuasca hour too.
How long are you there for? How long does weed camp last?
So there's several trip lengths. I'm so glad you asked. They have several package options, from weekend packages to week-long packages. I want to do a week-long because you and I need to ride ponies.
Yes.
And that's only
you should get in touch with weed camp and ask them to sponsor the show.
Dude.
Be like, sponsored by weed camp.
Fucking amazing idea. Dude, I'd work there. Move me out to weed camp. I will support the project. Colorado has shit that we need.
I could absolutely see you living in like a nice little RV with your horses at weed camp and just working at a weed camp for a living. Dude. I could totally see that.
Of course. I'd have everything I need. Literally everything I need. I'm a very simple bitch. You want to be humble, live off the land, okay? Because it changes you as a person. You start looking at the world a little differently and how much you don't need. I've decided, this is something that I should have listened to my wife. She's always fucking right. 2 years ago, she said, you should get an RV. And I was like, I can't do that. I couldn't live in an RV. Because in my mind at the time, I was like, I live in a house. Houses are what I live in. Now that I have one. Because for so long, I didn't, you know, and I got scared of that not ever being a thing. But now I'm like, let's simplify. You know?
Yeah. It's still a house. It's just a house that can move around.
Dude.
Which is better because you're like, wildfires? I'll just move my fucking house.
So now, here are my fucking drawbacks. So thanks, Florida, for crushing my dreams almost immediately, because while I can afford to get the damn thing, I can't put it anywhere, because anywhere you want to rent starts at $900 a month. And they don't let you stay there year long. And certain times of the year are more expensive, as much as $1,300 a month just to park there. Plus, you have to.
Oh my fucking God! I would so leave. This shit is why I never went to Florida, man.
So let me just tell you, it's to deter people from living year round at a discounted rate without actually being renters and all that shit. So that's stupid. You can't park in a park without, first of all, it being a camping area and you paying for camping fees. Now, camping fees per night start at about $60, and that's for a tent. Okay. And if you have an RV, for example, or just a travel trailer, so say something you tow behind you, all right, that fee starts at about $80 a night. And if you're just doing nightly, it'll include the electricity and water hookup and, you know, your your pooper shooter.
Girl, just get your RV and your horse trolley and get your horses in it and fucking go to Colorado or something. Go elsewhere.
So
Fuck Florida.
I have a friend in Colorado. I might actually do that. But the thing is the cold doesn't agree with me. I've had too many fucking surgeries. And now with my bum arm, I'm like, By the way, I look at my arm now and I'm like, hey, girl, what you been doing down there? I forgot you existed. Every time I seriously forget sometimes that I'm moving my own arm. It's become like an alien for me. And it's my dominant hand. Yeah. So here's the fun thing about arthritis for all you. I'm not even old. I just want to say this. I'm only 32 for fuck's sake. Okay. Yeah. And I'm not ashamed of it because I still look pretty fucking good for my age.
Yeah, you do.
So anyway, I'm trying to flex my fingers as we speak. I wish you could see me doing this. And it looks like I'm using a fucking can opener on my arm because that's how creaky I am. It's real bad. Ugh. Super fucking bad. The arthritis in my fingers and my hand is so severe by the end of the day, I can't even move my fucking arm because the pain from my hand is so bad and it goes into my wrist. Which apparently, in all the time that I was in the cast, that 4-month period, started fusing to the rest of my bone. Didn't even know you could do that. Yeah. So now I have to like break up all that shit.
Oh, honey.
I know. I should have just listened to you and shot the pooch. Fuck.
I thought my advice was to get a robot arm because that's my advice for everything.
Oh, by the way, I seriously, I want to warn everyone. If I do get thrown off a horse and break my arm again, it's going to be super serious. The doctor has warned me about this. And in actuality, what happened was my bones wouldn't fuse together. And that's why I was in the cast for so long. And they could not operate because they were like, they're not going to heal. They were like, your skin will heal, but your bones aren't healing now. So they're not going to heal with surgery. We're just holding them together with artillery, which isn't good enough because you're just going to be in a lot of fucking pain. So what I ended up doing is deciding that if this ever happens again, I'm pulling a Furiosa and I'm taking up a collection and I'm getting an interchangeable robotic arm. I think it's a great idea. Who's with me?
I am so with you.
I would be so fucking hot with a robo arm. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Make it have a USB thing so you can charge your phone with it.
Oh, that's genius. Everybody get you a wife right now. Go out. Get you a wife. Seriously, this is why. USB charger, I would have never fucking thought about that. This is what I've thought about so far. I thought about something that could blend my coffee drinks as an attachment. Cool. I was like, I want a frothy drink every day. Every fucking day without having to stir anything with my actual hand. That sounds great to me. I also want the fucking saber arm because like I said, I'm bringing swords back. I think it's cool.
Yes.
Let's stab a few people. No, really don't. I did not just say that as in do it. Don't do it, fuckers. I'm being sarcastic, but by the way, I just think this is a great idea.
You should also have like a little storage compartment in there so you could have like your lipstick or something in there or money, credit cards.
Oh my God.
You know, but it's like locked in your arm so then you don't have to worry about pockets or carrying a handbag. If you don't want to, you can just go.
All the things. See, by the time I'm going to let you basically write out a list of things my robo arm needs to have, and I'm going to send it to some German designer and be like, work it out. I know you have the technology.
Fucking 3D print this right now.
I only trust German shit that's built. If I'm going to attach it to my arm permanently, I want that shit to be built by a German. I do. I don't even care. They're foolproof, pretty much. I have a German car that will not die now. I'm so excited. Like, so it's not a great car, but it runs and it's German because that's how it runs. It's because it's German, it's running is what I'm trying to say. Is there anything else you wanted to say before I close this out?
Fuck bitches, get money.
Oh, I love that. Be gangsta, baby. If you guys listen to us, rate us wherever you're listening to us. 5-star reviews only. Say whatever the fuck you want, okay? We don't care what you say. We will read it on air. I have to check our reviews next episode. So this gives you guys a little incentive. And then I got shut down by Instagram because Mark Zuckerberg's a fucking cocksucker. And so for now, I don't have an Insta. You can't follow me, but she's at Legion After Dark. And you can
I figured out how to take you off speaker, by the way.
Yay! She's so smart. I believe in her. If you are a fan of the show, please let us know. We just want to know that you care. And if you don't care, that's cool too. But again, we need 5-star reviews. We're trying to bump up our human access. And people are wanting us to guest on their shows this year. So,
fun.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to make that. I'm going to facilitate that. I'm going to be like, you cope your morning, people, okay? All right. For those of you that have listened to the show and haven't donated, you guys are cheap fucks. We hate you. For those that want to, it's paypal.me/tiptheladies. We love you guys. Keep listening.
Love you.
Sub-slaves, BDSM, we out. Thank you for joining us on Daddy Issues. If you enjoy the show, rate us wherever you're listening to us. And if you'd like to show your appreciation, you can do so at paypal.me/tiptheladies. If neither of those work for you, share us with a friend. I mean, after all, we're everybody's guilty pleasure. Click, play, obsess.